Welcome back to Let's Talk Harlingen. I'm Mayor Norma Sepulveda.
And I'm Cassandra Concilio.
We're here to keep you updated, informed, and connected to your city.
Let's get into it.
And in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Harlingen. This is episode 25. We're so glad that you are here. We are kicking off the holiday season. How are you feeling, Cassandra? What do you
I'm
think
doing
about this?
great. I love our trees. They feel so cute. Our poinsettias, everything is ready for Christmas. This is our Thanksgiving episode, but we kind of skipped it. Hope you all are enjoying your turkey or you did enjoy your turkey. And we're just ready to be in Christmas spirit.
Absolutely. I'm excited. This is always just, it's an indicator of better weather, right, in our community. And also just I feel like everybody's in the giving spirit and kids are all excited except for when they get back from school, right? And you get and I mean you, right, with 3, I think that's gonna be even harder.
Exciting.
Exciting, fun stuff. But I don't know about you, but I already have my house decorated too. I got a couple trees
You
up and
do? That is
mhm.
very good. I do not have any trees up. I will probably closer to Thanksgiving we'll get it put up. But no, we don't have anything yet. The kids really do want us to really decorate. I'm like, "Okay, hold on because first I have to pick up your baseball stuff and your basketball stuff and your toys before we get to Christmas." But it's just a great time and like you mentioned, it is the giving season. And because of that, I know we kicked off a really really important campaign yesterday and I want
Yes.
you to tell us all about it.
Yes, it's very important for us to remember that there are people in our community that are really living, paycheck to paycheck, and some folks may be struggling to just put food on the table. And so we kicked off an event put together by the Harlingen Hunger Coalition. And the Harlingen Hunger Coalition is made up of all of the nonprofits in our community that do this work to help feed Harlingen on the daily basis. We're talking about our local pantries, loaves and fishes. And we also brought in, to these discussions TSDC, UTRGV, and just those folks that really are constantly pouring into our community. And so what we learned is there was a need for just assisting the RGV food bank. And we had done I don't know if you remember, we talked about it where we had provided donation from the state of the city to the RGV food bank, but that was in times of, because of the issue with the flood that we had. They really come to our aid when needed, but at this point, they don't have enough resources to service all of their partners. And so we were talking to them and saying, well, what's going on? Give us your input. And they said, well, we're having to turn families away because we don't have enough food. And so that, just makes me think of, there's kids that are probably gonna go hungry in our community. And I know Harlingen is a community that steps up and is here to support one another. And so that's where this was kind of born out of and just the immediate need. And so we kicked off the campaign yesterday, and the campaign is really to raise funds to stock the shelves of the food bank. In turn, they will be able to provide the essentials, right, for our food pantries. And so that's what we did. I know you were there, hoping that people look on our social media. I think it's on our Facebook page and other platforms.
Yeah, so it's the Harlingen United to End Hunger campaign. And this campaign, you can give directly with a QR that we're going to have. It's going to be on our website, it's going to be on our Facebook, and you can give as little as $1 and as much as
Right,
you want. And to any companies out there, we really are trying to encourage you to match a donation of anybody of what we raise. It would just be wonderful because you're right. The food banks are lacking in funds and
mhm,
therefore they cannot purchase as much food and therefore they cannot service as many people. And
right,
so when we saw this need, we said, "I we can help," right? And it's not an I ever, it's a we. And all of these people came together and said, "We're going to start raising money
right,
and with $1, $5, $10, there's different levels that you can. But the best part about donating to the RGB food bank is that they can stretch a dollar better than we can. With 20 cents, they can feed a lot more people than we can because of the price that they can purchase the groceries at.
right.
And that is why we chose the RGB food bank because we were thinking, okay, so we're going to raise money and now we want the money to go as far as possible. and that is why
Mhm.
the RGB food bank was selected. And, right now, we're really just encouraging everybody to give. It's just we really want to come together to help those in need
Yes.
in the city of Harlingen. So right now, we're really focused on the city of Harlingen. Who knows where we'll be, right? If everybody feels the spirit and helps us out, who knows where we'll get? And but we just encourage everybody to give on the QR code as much
Yes.
as you can. So that is really what we're focused on. I know that was your announcement at the meeting yesterday.
Yes.
And it was not a very long meeting, though.
It was not a long meeting, thankfully. I think that, as we're getting into the holidays, we're winding down the work that is being placed on the agenda because really a lot of it has already been completed, and we're kind of finalizing a few things here and there. So yes, it was not a very long meeting, which is great because yesterday was a very, very long day with everything that we had going on. Lots of events around the city. I know you guys do the sit tea, and this is a time where the community needs to really be watching to see all the events that are happening around town because it's throughout the day and throughout the evening we've got stuff going on. But yes, yesterday was, a quick meeting, and we want to make sure that everybody knows. We just got right into it because we're so passionate about helping people in our community that today's episode is the recap of the city
Yes.
commission meeting. And so we talked about the announcements. That's kind of at the top of the hour. We and there were several announcements, and one of them was, of course, this campaign, and then the other was just celebrating the Feast of Sharing that happened. HEB just, is an amazing partner, and year after year, they put on the Feast of Sharing, not just in Harlingen, but throughout the region, and I think throughout the state. And it was packed at the convention center. There were so many people, and I was talking to one of the girls there, and she said that they thought that they were gonna be feeding up to 10,000 people.
That's so impressive.
It
10,000
is.
people, and HB has their operations down packed, and like you
Oh,
said, they
yes.
help us aid the community as much as they can, and, we're very thankful of them, just to
100%.
come in. We like, if there's an emergency, you always see those HEB trailers coming in with
Yeah.
food and whatever necessities that they can provide for the community. And then, of course, we had our pet of the week, Mayor. It was a very cute white, dog named Almond. I don't
A
remember
lab.
it was a lab?
A baby lab.
Oh, he was
Mhm.
super cute.
Yeah, labs are cute, I have 3.
Oh,
They're very
you're
cute.
like, "I actually like them." They're super cute. He's a very cute lab, and his name was Almond, and he actually got adopted, but they had to bring him
Yes.
back. And at the Harlingen Animal Shelter, we understand, right? If you can't, you can bring him back home, and
Right?
hopefully somebody else can help take care of him. But he's super cute, and he's there at Markowski, and we encourage everybody to go help. And as usual, they always have pet adoption events.
Yes.
This weekend, they're gonna be in Weslaco, and they just really hop all over the valley, trying to get their name out there, trying to show the dogs.
Mhm. Yes, they're definitely doing a great job out there, and I'm sure that they'll probably I know that we had passed an ordinance, I wanna say that during the holidays, there's special promotions, so I would imagine, people need to watch out for, Thanksgiving, Christmas time, so there'll probably be reduced cost on the adoption, so check out their Facebook page. But yes, Almond was, adorable. Unfortunately, her family, or the family that adopted her, had some health issues, and so brought her back, but she's spayed and she's ready to, go to her new forever home, and we hope that she finds, a great family. Also had some other recognitions.
A lot of recognitions. The first one was to the Harlingen High School South Hawks boys tennis team and to the Harlingen South Hawks girls tennis team. So they did fantastic this year.
Yes,
There's a big group of them. And whenever, a team in the city of Harlingen advances, they always like to be recognized at City Commission. I think it's really important for them to see that their local government is really standing behind them
yes.
and says, like, congratulations. And not only are you a good student, but you're an athlete as well, so it's good to see them.
Absolutely, really proud. They made Harlingen proud. I know Commissioner Bettis said a few words with them. He said some of them were his students, and so he takes a lot of pride in recognizing, all of the Hawks, and it seems like we are always having groups, whether it's from the Cardinal campus or the Hawks campus, and they're just doing amazing things, all sports, and other activities too, of course. But yeah, it was amazing. But let's talk about the Sirs Martini Lounge.
Yes, they recently got a People's Choice Award for the best decor, from the downtown. It's a conference that they put together every year, but really it was like a statewide contest, and it was really on Facebook. It was like, share if you like
Yeah.
this one, or, like it. I think it was a like competition, and they won. And it sirs is so neat because it's an eclectic mixture
Right.
of decor, and you could sit in one corner and feel like you're in, like, a cozy space, and you could sit in another corner and feel a completely different vibe, and it's so neat that they can bring all those different vibes together, and we're so
Right.
proud of a Harlingen bar restaurant coming, on the
Absolutely.
statewide recognition.
Definitely. I think it's such a unique place, and whenever folks come to Harlingen, I always try to send them to places that they can't find anywhere else. And so Sirs is one of those, and there's several around town that are unique to Harlingen and make Harlingen special. And so I'm glad that the rest of the state gets to see what we
Yes.
have here.
Congratulations to Sirs, and everybody should go check them out in
Yes.
downtown. And then you had a proclamation for Coach Josue Cano. And this is a coach at Zavala Elementary who's been there over 30 years.
He was there for 30 years and he just retired, and yes, he d and it was really nice to hear him speak because, very proud, of the community, and there at that, school, it just they have a big impact with the neighbors that in the surrounding area. They're constantly putting on different types of events, family type of events, and it's so refreshing to see someone that has their heart for education and chooses to be in a school like Savala where they can make the biggest impact. And so to choose to stay there for 30 years, to love your job, to see, he said, I see that I have students that they were my students and now their kids were his students too. And he looked really young too. So he must, when they say you love your job, that you never work a day in your life. I think he's probably the poster person for that because he looked great. Doesn't look like he just gave 30 years, but you could tell he really loved, what he was doing over at Savala. So we're so grateful for all our educators that really, are teaching the future leaders of our community.
It was really nice what he said. And then it is actually Children's Bereavement Center of Rio Grande Valley. They were presented a proclamation
Yes.
yesterday, and recently it was the Children's Bereavement Day,
Right.
and it's very difficult, right, to explain to a child the death or
Right.
of a loved one, especially. But it's very difficult for them to express themselves. And this location, the Children's Bereavement Center, is focused solely on children, helping them through grief and through the
Mhm.
stages of grief.
Right.
And it's just very inspiring. It's very kind, and they give a lot back from themselves. I could only imagine the counselors and everybody that works there also kind of goes through all this pain with
Right.
them, and it's good to know that we have this resource in the city of Harlingen because sometimes parents just don't know how to deal with it. And this is a great
Right.
resource right here in the city of Harlingen. You don't have to be from Harlingen to
No.
benefit from them. And, the children need help, and the children don't know how to say that they need help. So it's up to the parent or an adult, a loved one, to help them through it. And this is a great resource for them.
Absolutely. I think it's important to recognize when there are people that are doing this type of work because it's difficult, right? It's not easy, but it's necessary. And yes, grief is hard in and of itself, but managing through that and managing, you know, other family members having to be that support system, I think it's probably difficult. But knowing that they've got these additional resources. And I know Mr. Bill Reagan was there inviting the community out to they were having a vigil. And I think it's important to give people an opportunity to really just take participate in those types of events and honor those individuals and those children. And so it's wonderful to be able to recognize them and the work that they do. But on another note, we had our business of the month, which is always so much fun. And this month we had Panchitos. And, she did such a phenomenal job with, I mean, media does a great job with the videos, but she really kind of, I think everybody in the room was just glued to the television because, she was talking about how she opened up her kitchen really to feed anyone, and not just right now where there's issues with food insecurity. When she learned that there were SNAP benefits were going to be cut, or there were issues and uncertainty, she said, "Well, I'm going to feed people anyway." We know the price of groceries are going up, especially prices of eggs and things like that. And she gives breakfast tacos. And so it must be difficult, right, for a business owner. But what I learned, I knew that about her. And I thought that that was so, incredible. What a great human being to really be so, thoughtful of others. But I didn't know that she does this all the time. So for folks that are hungry, they'll come and, be able to eat and, with, and knowing that there's a place where there's always a meal for them, which is wonderful.
They celebrated their 24th anniversary, she was mentioning, and it really is heartwarming to see a business owner, say, "Here is I provide this service to the community, but I wanna give back to my community as well." And
Mhm.
it was just very heartwarming, it was very kind, and I think she said a line, she said, "I wanna give hope to everybody."
Mhm.
And that is so heartwarming to hear from an owner who obviously is trying to make money for her and her family as well,
Right?
right? Say, I want to bring hope to others through food, through love and care. It is just so kind. And I'm like, okay, everybody go to Panchitos for
I
breakfast.
know.
Everybody better go. And so we should give back to the community and businesses that give back to our community.
Right,
And that is one of the business of the month little perks, I think, is that we're learning about gems in the city of Harlingen. And we have so many that it's
right.
that we wanna get everybody's story, but we only do it once a month, and it's just a great little program that you started, I think it was about 3 years ago, right?
Mhm.
So, we're learning about little gems, and maybe your business will be next, right?
Right.
So
And we are always looking for nominations. Reach out to the city of Harlingen if there's a business in town that you think needs to be recognized, or you want them to be recognized. We're here for that feedback.
and then we got into the real meeting after
Right.
all.
It was a lot of
Yes, I
fun.
think it's fun to recognize and, the businesses and all that, but then it's time for the real meeting. And then you get into the consent agenda. So the consent agenda is the part where we're usually going over things that have already been voted on, but they
Right.
need two readings to be official. And one of the ones that stands out to me would be 7B,
Mhm.
and it's the consideration and possible action to approve the resolution authorizing the interim city manager to accept a grant award an amount of $40,000 for the Texas Historical Commission Texas Preservation Trust Fund program. This is in short, we got a $40,000 grant for us to do a survey of the city of Harlingen to see if we have any historical buildings, offices, homes, anything that historical that we would be able to preserve, right? Because we want to make sure we're keeping the history of Harlingen and of Texas alive. And so maybe there's a building that's 100 years old and someone says, "Oh, I don't like it," and they're going to tear it down. We're like, "Wait, please, like, stop. We wanna preserve our history." So this is
Right.
such a great first step really for us in the direction of analyzing what we have in the city of Harlingen, what is would be considered historical, and, maybe some adjustments were made to the building, maybe they didn't, so we wanna stop that before they do. So this is a really good first step for us.
Absolutely. We're real excited about it. I know, this is really a passion of, I think, Commissioner Lopez. And in his district, there are many buildings, especially here downtown, different areas throughout the community that really have a lot of historical significance. And so this is a way to identify them, like you mentioned, and to really have an opportunity to preserve. And then there's also additional grant funding out there. And maybe we can partner with the community and the owners of these buildings or homes to really tell their story, right? And the idea, which for you in CVB, right, would be this is a potential for people throughout the state to come and visit
Tourism
Harlingen and to
attractions,
tour.
yeah.
And so this is the first step in a lot that's going to be happening here in the Harlingen with respect to preservation and really just sharing Harlingen's story in a bigger way.
I do feel that sometimes, right now, the history is just kind of an oral tradition, and
Right.
we just kind of say, "Oh, yeah, this building over here," or like, "Oh, this building over here." But this is gonna lead us into being able to gather all of the information in one location.
Right.
It'll live online, maybe it'll be in print, but it will be for us to get all this information for us to be able to pass down to future generations. So,
Absolutely, and I think that's critical. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, is that we take for granted what we have around us because we live here and, we've learned of these types of, buildings in our community, like the old HEB home. Everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, it's over," but, I
Taylor,
mean, does
yeah,
everybody know that? Probably not. If you grew up here, you do. And I really love those was it Taylor and, Polk and all of those, streets have some really nice,
historic homes.
yes, definitely.
And then we got right into the staff reports. And so the staff report section is a part where all the departments have to go to commission and explain really what's going on, like what's happening in their department. Because, every year we have new goals, we have new objectives, we get a fresh budget, right? Everybody's excited to get all their stuff. And we learned a lot about the Harlingen Fire Department. And
Right.
the Harlingen Fire Department is the best asset to the city of Harlingen. They're the people that you want to make, they're going to come help you, save you. And something that I learned personally last night was that they have a foundation that if you lose your home in a fire, they have monies readily available to help you that night.
Mhm.
And so you're asleep, there's a fire. Thankfully, thank God, hopefully you get out alive. Where do you go?
Yeah.
And they are there with money, and they've partnered with hotels as well to give you a place to sleep that night. And that to me is irreplaceable, and that is just something that is thankfully we have that in the city of Harlingen.
Definitely. I think they're truly amazing. The men and women of the Harlingen Fire Department, they really truly care and love the community and do all this additional side type of fundraising so that way they can be able to do these kinds of things. You see the barbecues, you see them with the boot, raising funds. I think I shared at the meeting that we presented 2 checks to cancer patients here in our community based on funds that they raise by selling T-shirts outside of Sam's on the weekends. Like, those are things that they go, above and beyond to help the community, and then, of course, the risk that they take. I mean,
Yes.
when you think about firefighters, they're going into danger. Like, that's what they sign up to do, to go into fire, right? Obviously, they've got all of their gear and they try from the exterior, the structure, type fires and things like that. But they know that there's a possibility that they may have to go in and save someone from a fire. That's a big role, and for them to sign up to do that, knowing that any day that may be a possibility. I really admire them for all the hard work that they do here in Harlingen.
Another fun fact is that they have with HCISD a program that you can start becoming a firefighter. And they recently had two of the graduates of that program join the Harlingen Fire Department. So this is a direct path that you can start in high school and you can have a job right away.
Immediately.
And it's so impressive that they like look at this opportunity. You would have a career
Mhm.
in Harlingen firefighters or a firefighter anywhere in the United States,
Right.
really. But you can start in high school. They teach you. They're there for you. They do like these burn projects once a year and they like
Mhm.
learn how to put the fire out. It's just a great program. They're with the youth, they're with the people who have lost everything, and they're with you really. They have your back at any time.
Yeah, and one of the things also with the fire department, they really care about their professional growth and support them continuing their education And so many of those guys out there are highly educated and constantly learning, and I'm just really impressed with all that they're able to do. And I think they've got, like, 3 guys are already from the high school
Oh,
program,
3, that's
3
great.
already.
Congratulations to all
One
them.
of the things they didn't share, and hopefully we'll be able to share it soon here, I know that Brandon's been working on it really hard, is that calendar. Remember we talked about
Oh.
that? So they didn't talk about that.
Chief Valderas, the guy, your chief that can lift 1,000
1,000.
pounds, I'm never gonna forget that. He has a really cool idea of a fundraising project, and it's
Mhm.
almost finished. Brandon showed me a sneak peek, but we actually, we'll probably reveal it here, really. It's so
Yes.
fun, and it's another fundraising project, and like we've been saying, like, this money goes to the community.
Right.
They are able to help people right away with this money, so don't be shy and buy 10 calendars whenever they come out. That's
Abs
coming up soon.
Yes.
And then we got into, of course, we're gonna have the 39th annual lighting of the arroyo. They have to put in the agenda sometimes because we're closing a tech dot.
Right.
So we want to let everybody know that a major thoroughway is being closed. And so the
Right.
lighting of the arroyo is going to be on December 4th,
Mhm.
2025. Everybody loves that event. It's such a nostalgic event. It's the 39th annual, Mayor.
It's older than me.
Hey.
Why are you laughing?
Because, it's a very I would say it's
No.
not older than you. I'm just
Yes. Oh
joking.
my gosh. These are just, like, low blows. Even the
I don't
team, they're
I
like, "I
don't know what
can't believe she
happened.
just said that." Okay, so yes, I
Yeah.
I went as a child. All
Well,
right.
lighting the
I was
arroyo.
trying to feel youthful,
I
but
didn't know what to say right there, but it's okay, Brandon, help me out. Alright,
No, but it's a great event, and we will all be there, and I'll make sure to, put moisturizer and, work on all of the
alright, everybody go to lighting of the arroyo December
Moving
4th.
on.
Yes, but the really, really important action item that happened last night was action item 10B,
Yes.
and this was consideration and possible action to approve a budget of $240,000 for drainage improvement projects previously approved under the MOU agreements with the Cameron County Drainage Districts and the irrigation districts. So this is one of the most serious I think, items on the agenda tonight. This is a
Right,
$240,000 budget approval. And the reason why we need to come to commission when it's such a large number is for multiple reasons. But I would say the most important one is that we're letting the community
right,
know that these items are being purchased to help with the drainage. And number two, we have a very strict purchasing procedure and policy in the city of Harlingen. Really, you can't buy anything without, getting all these quotes and do all this thing. But this is $240,000 that are going to go directly for a certain area in the city of Harlingen to fix the drainage in these neighborhoods, right?
right,
So, can you explain to us? I know that this is not the first time you heard about it. I know this has
right.
been discussions. These are approved under the MOU that we've already had. So, can you let us know a little bit about
Yeah,
those?
definitely. So, over the last 3 years or so, we have really been focused on drainage, right? And, trying to make the most impact that we can. And when I first came on board, I was really surprised to learn that there was a lot of need. We didn't have, for example, we didn't have pumps for certain areas, whether if we were gonna have a weather event. I think we had 1 or maybe 2, and there were having to do kind of a survey of the community to see how many ditches do we have in our community, how does the drainage flow, and who's responsible for what. And so everybody knows that we have got Cameron County Drainage District 6, 5, we got the irrigation districts, and there are so many different entities that have to work together in order to ensure that we're doing the best that we can for our community, because learned about 22% of all of the ditches within our community are owned by the citizens, owned by the city of Harlingen. So you've got the vast majority that are owned by either an irrigation district or drainage district. And so we cannot take the approach of, well, that's not my job, right? Because when we're
Correct.
working in these silos, the people that are affected most are the residents. And had an opportunity to really see the challenges with our system. by having the storm that we had in March, right? So it's considered a 1,000-year storm, and people are really tired of hearing this 1,000-year, 500-year, 100-year. All they know is, "I got water in my home, and I'm not happy about it, and you need to fix it." And really, that's a call to action, and that is the ultimate goal. We have won when not a single person in Harlingen gets water in their home. We can deal with the water on the street, it's inconvenient, but when you have water in the home, that's unacceptable. And so we identified after that March rain event different areas in our community, and District 2, Spanish Acres and Secluded Acres really got the brunt of water in their homes. I mean, I know that Commissioner Lopez was out there kind of, walking in the water and talking to residents and really helping getting them to shelter. A lot of them ended up at the Harlingen Convention Center. American Red Cross spent a lot of time out there. And what we learned is that historically they have flooded. So it's not, the 1,000-year storm. It's they have over the last 10, 20, 30 years, right, that area has had those issues. Another area was Westgate. And then another one was the White Oak area. And so you're going to continue to hear these neighborhoods, these names of neighborhoods, because those are the ones that we said, you know what, we need to prioritize. Of course, we want to work throughout the city, but we need to prioritize these areas. Another one's the Adams Crossing area too. So we knew, and we had actively been working towards these improvements, but this really gave us a way to kind of simulate that again to ensure what can we do to prevent, right? And I know like at the meeting, Robert, our engineer, said what's really hard to manage in a 1,000-year storm, right? But we need to ensure that our standards are at the highest standards possible that are reasonable, making sure that development moving forward is responsible. So that's what this is all about. We've identified the locations. Now we have a drainage crew that we in-house, which saves us money because if we had to contract it out, we could potentially not be able to afford it. When you think about the just the materials they're asking us $240,000, that's a lot of money. That's because we're going to do the work in-house. Imagine if we had to also contract that out. And so this is how we stretch every dollar and make sure that we're doing what we need to do in order to ensure that the quality of life, right, of our community is paramount, and it starts with, are you safe in your home? And so that's what this is, and we're excited about it. There was a lot of chatter on the commission because I know Daniel, this is his most of it is in his district, and he wanna make sure that if we're gonna make the investment, is this enough? Like, do we need to upsize these pipes a little bit more? And so there was an ongoing discussion, and it seems that the engineer feels confident. We gotta rely on the experts, you got a bunch of lawyers and, people like us on the commission, but at the end of the day, we gotta rely on our staff to give us the information that we need. And so, I feel confident and comfortable that this is the direction that we need to go in. Lots of research. It may have seemed quick to those that were watching online, and I can understand that. But this has been in the works, several meetings, and an MOU for those that may not know is a memorandum of understanding for us to work together. So since we don't own a lot of this property, we want to make sure that we're working with our partners that do. And then we're putting in the labor, we're putting in these materials. How can we work together to collectively improve the system here in Harlingen?
So I know Robert, the engineer, he had a presentation that we're happy to put up and we're going to put on our website as well.
Right.
So if you do live in these areas, you can rest assured that the city of Harlingen obviously sees it and they're working on something, or specifically the drainage crew, the new drainage
Hmm.
crews are working on this. And this is the first step, or not even the first step. This is we're way down the line. You have the
Right.
MOU, you identify the areas, the engineer's been working on what we can do. Like you said, I think it's really important also to remind the people 1,000-year flood does not mean it comes every 1,000 years. It's the name of a
Right.
flood of how many inches we
Important.
got. So if we get a certain amount of inches, it has a name. In March, it was considered 1,000 years because we got over 20 inches. And so that's just the name of it, right? And so we could get multiple 1,000-year floods. Hopefully we don't. But we need to be prepared, and so we've been doing that by getting the pumps, by identifying the areas that we need to, by getting the MOU with the drainage and irrigation districts, and now the work is starting, right? So
Mhm.
you guys have been working since March to now to get, okay, now let's get the work started. Now let's get these items ordered. $240,000 is a huge amount of money. It's
Right.
not by any means, oh, no big deal. It's a lot of money,
Right.
but these are people's homes. This is
Right.
the city of Harlingen, and this is what the drainage crew is for. And so, I mean, I know that I'm sure that these neighborhoods are very, very, very thankful, and hopefully, this alleviates any sort of water getting into their properties moving forward.
Absolutely. I definitely think it's a step in the right direction, and we've, a lot of work going into it, a lot of homework done,
A
and
lot of
so,
homework,
yeah.
and
So
which
we're
is really important for
Yep.
the community to know that none of these decisions are made, in the 7, 8 minutes that you guys discussed it on the day.
No.
As these decisions have a lot of research behind them. There's been a lot of discussions, specifically in purchasing $240,000 worth of materials.
Right, right. And this is one area of town or two areas of town, and we've
And they're not
identified
done.
others. They're not done. We're going to keep moving forward. For me, the next few years, the priority is drainage and keeping people safe in their homes. So you're going to see more and more of these, and there's
We'll come back
lots
to
of
you guys. Yeah.
information. Yeah, lots of information out there. People just follow along. And if they have questions, of course, like I think we've mentioned it a number of times, but always our engineering department is available, city management's office is available, the commission, we're available as well. But know that this is top priority.
Yeah, and, I mean, a lot of people, if you do see an item that you wanna discuss in the commission, of course, we obviously always encourage everybody to speak during the public comment, but we can't have a dialogue.
Right.
And it's very important, we wanna have a dialogue, we want you to understand the process or the area, why this was selected. And so, yes, we recommend you to call the city,
Yep.
engineer to get a little bit more information on that.
That's a good reminder. Yeah, citizen communication. Actually, the citizen communication at this last meeting, I really enjoyed hearing, and I want to reach out to the young lady that came out and talked about planting trees and the walkability of Harlingen. So, just because we can't communicate doesn't mean that it
I
doesn't
didn't hear
reach
you,
us.
yeah.
And I really enjoyed hearing from her. And there was an UTRGV student that talked about and it's something that I have actually brought up a number of times after going to the moonwalk. Moon, yeah. So, and this is the lovely, noise that we get right whenever being downtown. But really, the crosswalk there at the moon walk Moon Rock. I kept saying walk. It's the Moon Rock. Sorry. I
I
haven't had enough coffee today, but really that is something that I think he brought up is important. It's a public safety issue. I hope to get more of that in these next, few years that we get to hear from the community and they give us their feedback on what they would like to see in their community. It's designed for that. We can follow up with them. We just can't have those conversations
right there
right
during
there and
community
then.
comment.
Mhm. But we have lots of town halls,
Yes.
coffee with the
We have
mayor,
lots of events
lots of
coming up.
opportunities.
This leads us right into Let's Talk Harlingen questions. This week, we did not get a question to our inbox. Again, you have to email Let's Talk Harlingen at harlingentx.gov for us to read your question on air. Last time we read Christina's email and she came by the office and I gave her her gift and she was so kind and I just like loved meeting her because she says she listens every week and
I
she
love
just
that.
really enjoys learning about the different departments, about really what's going on. She was thankful that we answered the question. And so thank you, Christina, for emailing us and coming by to pick up your Yeti that she got. And we are definitely open to getting all the questions. And next week, we have an important interview. We're going to interview the CDBG department. So this is going to be with Sandy. We continue our our City of Harlingen Department series, and that's what we're really focusing on right now. And we're going to have a really exciting episode next week.
Absolutely. So make sure that you tune in. Next episode is going to be absolutely amazing. We can't wait to see you then. That's it for this episode of Let's Talk Harlingen.
If you like what you heard today, make sure to subscribe on our YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We've got more conversations coming your way. Let's talk again soon, Harlingen.